Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice of the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Chaos reigns supreme in South Korea. Police raid presidential office over martial law attempt. Arrested ex-defense minister tries to commit suicide. Syria's new Prime Minister Mohammed al-Bashir meets members of former government to facilitate transition, calls for stability and calm. Government of India evacuates 75 Indian nationals from Syria. Evacuees include 44 pilgrims from Jammu and Kashmir. Israel's Netanyahu rejects absurd the charges at corruption trial, strongly rejects any wrongdoing to resume testifying today. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with young innovators at the grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2024 via video conferencing. Getting your updates from South Korea first. The police have raided the presidential office on Wednesday as the investigation into the declaration of martial law gathers pace. The special investigation team has conducted a raid on the presidential office, the National Police Agency, the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency and the National Assembly Security Service. Yoon is the subject of criminal investigation on insurrection charges over his short-lived imposition of martial law, but he has not been arrested or questioned by authorities. Yoon is already under a travel ban. In other updates, South Korea's former defense minister tried to kill himself shortly before he was formally arrested over his role in this month's martial law operation. Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun resigned last Thursday and was formally arrested on Tuesday on charges including engaging in critical duties during an insurrection and abuse of authority to obstruct the exercise of rights. During a parliamentary hearing, the Commissioner General of Korea Correctional Service said the former minister tried to kill himself minutes before his arrest was announced. South Korea's National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-shik has invoked the parliamentary right to launch an investigation into the martial law situation. South Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-soo said that he blames himself for failing to stop the emergency martial law, which was declared by President Yoon Suk-yeol last week. Thousands of protesters rallied outside Parliament in Seoul, demanding the impeachment and arrest of South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol and the disbandment of party following last week's martial law attempt. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen spoke to South Korean Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok and expressed appreciation for the close communication between the Korean Ministry of Economy and Finance and the U.S. Treasury Department following recent events in the Republic of South Korea. North Korea has reported for the first time on South Korea's ongoing political turmoil, saying Yoon Suk-yeol's insane act is a serious crisis of governance and impeachment, declared martial law unexpectedly and unleashed the guns of the fascist dictatorship on the people. Let's get you updates from Syria now. The new interim leader took charge as caretaker prime minister with the backing of the former rebels. The appointment comes after al-Bashir met with members of al-Assad's government. The meeting was held under the headline of transferring the files and institutions to caretake the government. In a brief address on state television, Mohammed al-Bashir said that he would lead the interim authority until March 1st. Bashir, in his first interview to Qatar's Al Jazeera television, said that it was time for stability and calm in the country.
Today we held a cabinet meeting that included a team from the Salvation Government that was working in Idlib and its vicinity and the government of the ousted regime. The meeting was under the headline of transferring the files and institutions from the government of the ousted regime to the transitional government in order to receive these files and conduct business. This means that there will be a Syrian government that will handle these files and manage the business during a transitional period, God willing, that may end on March 1st. The General Command has tasked us with running the transitional government until March 1st, 2025.
India has evacuated 75 nationals from Syria following the recent developments in the West Asian country. The evacuees included 44 Zaireen, or the pilgrims from Jammu and Kashmir, who were stranded at Saida Zainab. All Indian nationals have safely crossed to Lebanon and will return by available commercial flights to India. The evacuation was coordinated by embassies of India in Damascus and Beirut following the assessment of security situation and requests from Indian nationals in Syria. Indian nationals remaining in Syria are advised to stay in touch with the Indian embassy in Damascus at their emergency helpline number and email ID for updates. Government of India says it will continue to monitor the situation closely. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Tuesday urged all nations to support an inclusive political process in Syria. Blinken in a statement said that the Syrian people will decide the future of Syria. He added that all nations should pledge to support an inclusive and transparent process and refrain from external interference. Blinken further said that the US will recognize and fully support a future Syria government that results from this process. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller in a media briefing said that US Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke about the situation in Syria with counterparts from regional countries.
Secretary Blinken has been on the phone today with a number of his counterparts in the Middle East about the situation in Syria. He has so far today spoken with Jordanian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates Aman Safadi, Emirati Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Qatari Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, and Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati.
The Biden administration has urged the rebel group not to assume automatic leadership of the country, but instead run an inclusive process to form a transitional government. According to sources, the communications with Hayat Tahrir al-Sham are being conducted in coordination with Washington's Middle East allies, including Turkey. The discussions, which have taken place over the last several days, are part of a larger effort by Washington to coordinate with various groups inside Syria as it tries to navigate the chaotic aftermath of the sudden collapse of the Assad regime on Sunday. The sources said the US has sent messages to the group to help guide early efforts to establish a formal governing structure for the country. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has issued a stern warning to Syria's new regime. Speaking in a video address on Tuesday, Netanyahu stressed that it would take necessary measures to safeguard its security and prevent threats from emerging across the border.
We want to have relations with the new regime in Syria. But if this regime allows Iran to re-establish itself in Syria, or allows the transfer of Iranian weapons or weapons of any kind to Hezbollah or attack us, we will respond forcefully and we will exact a heavy price. What happened to the previous regime will also happen to this one.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu testified for the first time on Tuesday in his long-running corruption trial, rejecting what he described as absurd, the allegations against him. Appearing at a crowded courtroom in Tel Aviv on Tuesday, the embattled Israeli leader said the charges leveled against him were an ocean of absurdity. Israel's longest-serving prime minister faces charges of bribery, fraud and breach of public trust in 3 separate cases. He has consistently denied any wrongdoing. He further accused the media of being biased towards him. He took the stand for about 4 hours on Tuesday and will resume testifying on Wednesday. US President Joe Biden on Tuesday looked back at the economic investments and priorities he championed during his time in the White House. Biden urged President-elect Donald Trump to discard Project 2025, the controversial conservative plan to overhaul the government. The project advocates a sweeping elimination of environmental regulations and a crackdown on programs to boost diversity in the workplace, which the project argues are broadly illegal.
I pray to God the President-elect throws away Project 2025. I think it would be an economic disaster for us in the region. Most economists agree the new administration is going to inherit a fairly strong economy, at least at the moment. An economy going through fundamental transformation that's laid out a stronger foundation and a sustainable, broad-based, highly productive growth.
In remarks at the Brookings Institution think tank, Biden acknowledged that American workers were still struggling with inflation and high housing prices. He also highlighted the creation of 16 million jobs, the most in any single presidential term, the lowest average unemployment of any administration in the last 50 years, and the smallest racial wealth gap in 20 years.
After decades of trickle-down economics that primarily benefited those at the very top, we've written a new book that's growing the economy, the middle out and the bottom up, that benefits thus far everyone. And this is going to be the test going forward. Over 16 million new jobs, the most in any single presidential term in American history. The lowest average unemployment rate of any administration in the last 50 years.
The U.S. Missile Defense Agency successfully intercepted an air-launched intermediate-range ballistic missile target during a test of Guam for the first time, a significant milestone in the island's defense capabilities. Guam, a U.S. territory in the Western Pacific, is a strategic military outpost that is located closer to China than to Hawaii. It plays a crucial role in maintaining U.S. presence in the region and deterring potential adversaries. The successful test underscores the Pentagon's commitment to bolstering Guam's defenses against evolving missile threats. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump may get relief in the hush money case. Manhattan prosecutors renewed their opposition to Trump's efforts to quash his hush money conviction, but accepted pausing the case while he is the president. Prosecutors have suggested to a New York judge the possibility of sparing Trump any prison time for his conviction on charges involving hush money paid to a porn star in light of his U.S. presidential election victory, but opposed dismissing the case. The judge indefinitely postponed Trump's sentencing at a hearing on November 22nd, given his win in the November 5th presidential election. As Beijing holds its biggest maritime mobilization in years, Taiwan said that it had detected 53 Chinese military aircraft and 19 ships near the island in the past 24 hours. The aircraft and vessels, which included 11 warships, were detected in Taiwan's airspace and waters in the last 24 hours. This was the highest number of aircraft detected in a single day since a record 153 was reported on October 15th. After China staged large-scale military drills in response to Li's speech days earlier. There has been intense speculation about the possibility of China launching military exercises in response to Taiwanese president's visits to the U.S. last week. Thousands have been ordered to evacuate near the city of Malibu in the U.S. state of California after a fast-moving wildfire broke out and burned hundreds of acres, including several homes. This is not yet clear what caused the fire, but the region has been under a red flag warning.
California continues to face the imminent dangers of massive wildfires. After battling massive wildfires in recent past, the western coast state is again witnessing another record-surging fire. A fierce wildfire spread across California's Malibu on Tuesday, forcing extensive evacuations and threatening homes as firefighters struggle to contain the blaze. The wildfires known as the Franklin Fire had swelled to more than 2,600 acres and was still raging out of control. The National Weather Service has posted a high danger red flag warning because of powerful winds that are fanning the already dangerous fire. Around 2,000 buildings in the eastern half of Malibu were issued a compulsory evacuation order. Authorities went door to door overnight to alert thousands of residents and closed roads as the fire grew.
LA County fire units were responded to a report of a brush fire at Malibu Canyon Road and the tunnel. Units reported 5 acres of heavy brush burning and being spread by strong Santa Ana winds. The fire is currently estimated at over 2,200 acres, and we have 700 firefighting personnel assigned.
People living in another part of the city were also advised to leave. Tens of thousands across Southern California had their electricity cut off.
This is a notorious area. The wind's coming straight down Malibu Canyon like a blowtorch. And so they're in harm's way every time there's a fire over there. It's a beautiful area, but you know, with all the trees and the landscaping, it's dangerous.
California is prone to wildfires. However, scientists say that climate change is making weather conditions that led to wildfires, such as heat and drought, more likely.
You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Live. Sri Lanka's President Anurakumara Dissanayake will begin his India visit on 15th of December. Sri Lanka Cabinet spokesperson and Minister Nalinda Jayatissa said in Colombo on Tuesday that during the 3-day tour, President Dissanayake will hold talks with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other high-ranking officials. President Dissanayake will be accompanied by Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath and Deputy Minister of Finance Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma. Nepalese Army Chief General Ashok Raj Sigdal commenced a significant 4-day official visit to India on Tuesday. The visit aims at strengthening mutual understanding, exchanging views on aspects of common interest and strengthening bilateral defense cooperation between the two nations. The visiting leader is scheduled to meet the political and military leadership of the country. General Sigdal is also scheduled to visit Ayodhya, wherein he will pay obeisance at the Ram Temple. The daily proceedings of the winter session of Indian Parliament will resume today with listing of important bills. The upper house of Parliament will take up Banking Laws Amendment Bill 2024 for consideration and passage. The lower house, that is Lok Sabha, will also take up legislative business. It will take up Railways Amendment Bill 2024 and Disaster Management Amendment Bill 2024 for consideration and passage. The grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2024 will be held on Wednesday. More than 1,300 student teams from across the country will participate in the finale. Prime Minister Modi will interact with the participants as well. Aditya Srivastav gets us more details from Bhopal.
The 7th edition of Smart India Hackathon will begin simultaneously at 51 nodal centers across the country on Wednesday. The software version will run non-stop for 36 hours, while the hardware version will continue from 11th to 15th December. Like previous editions, student teams will work on problem statements given by ministries or departments or industries and present their ideas in the student innovation category against any of the 17 themes related to areas of national importance. These sectors are healthcare, supply chain and logistics, smart technology, heritage and culture, sustainability, education and skill development, water, agriculture and food, emerging technologies, and disaster management.
We are working on the problem statement which is given by Ministry of Agriculture. So our project is basically for the farmers, for the welfare and well-being of farmers.
My entire team is very much excited.
We are engineering students, we are the youth of the nation, so we should know about what is going in our country and we have to make it more developed and better.
Some of the interesting problem statements include enhancing images of dark regions on the moon presented by ISRO, developing a real-time Ganga water quality monitoring system using AI, satellite data, IoT, and dynamic models, presented by the Jal Shakti Ministry, and developing smart yoga mat integrated with AI, submitted by the Ministry of Ayush.
This year in the hardware edition, we have over 17 teams who will be coming here from around 8 states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Delhi, NCR, etc. And they will be solving problems by various ministries. Our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji will be addressing the students live virtually.
It is worth noting that Smart India Hackathon is an initiative that encourages students and professionals to develop innovative solutions to real-world problems through technology and digital tools.
Youth of the nation is also interested, is also dedicated for the developed India. So the government of India is also trying to enhance their caliber. With camera person Chandramohan, Aditya Srivastav, DD India, Bhopal.
Retired IAS officer Sanjay Malhotra will assume charge as the 26th Governor of the Reserve Bank of India on Wednesday. Malhotra, a 1990 batch IAS officer from the Rajasthan cadre, will succeed Shaktikant Das, whose tenure as the RBI Governor concludes on Tuesday. Malhotra will serve a 3-year tenure as the RBI Governor. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will address the plenary session of Global Economic Policy Forum 2024 in New Delhi today. The Global Economic Policy Forum is a platform for thought-provoking discussions on contemporary global and Indian economic policy issues. It aims to enrich the economic policy debate by bringing to the fore the research and evidence-based perspectives from global experts, academics and think tanks, and also experience-based perspectives from industry leaders. While the forum deliberates on global economic policy issues, the deliberations benefit India's policy making, as the event throws up ideas for achieving India's ambition of becoming a developed nation by 2024. US President-elect Donald Trump's proposals to impose sweeping tariffs on imports could counter earlier efforts to cool inflation. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said on Tuesday that she was worried that President-elect Donald Trump's plans to levy broad import tariffs could derail progress in quelling inflation and raise costs for households and businesses. Yellen said Trump's plans to impose new tariffs of 60% on Chinese imports and 10% to 20% on goods from elsewhere would raise prices significantly for American consumers and create costs pressure on companies. Yellen also said that she was concerned about US fiscal sustainability and said that Congress needed to look for ways to pay for any extensions of Trump's 2017 individual and small business tax cuts, which are due to expire in 2025. The New York State this week appealed the dismissal of a pollution lawsuit against soda giant Pepsi company, accusing its single-use plastic packaging of posing a scourge on waterways and public health. The lawsuit pointed out that plastics cause wide-ranging harm to the public and New York State, highlighting the presence of microplastics in both humans and the fish. The appeal comes amid a major blow in the fight to curb plastic pollution after nations negotiating a global treaty to limit plastic waste failed to reach a deal earlier this month. On to sports now. World Chess Championship between Indian teenage challenger D. Gukesh and China's Ding Liren will restart on Wednesday after its final rest day. On Monday, Ding hit back with a win in the 12th game, right after losing the previous game to Gukesh on Sunday. In Game 11, Gukesh stunned the world champion with a breathtaking queen sacrifice, forcing him to resign on the spot. With 2 more games left in the championship, the scores are now tied at 6-all. If no player is leading in the overall score after 14 games, the fate of the World Championship will be decided by tie breaks that are played with faster time controls. New York City streets have once again transformed into a winter wonderland, delighting residents and visitors alike. The Rockefeller Center Christmas tree was officially lit recently, drawing crowds eager to witness the iconic dazzling tree. India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audience. So if you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. That's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.